What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Remember the Game. It is my retro gaming podcast where every week a buddy of mine and I sit down and we geek out about the games we played back in the day. My name is Adam Blank. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And this week it is episode 369. Nice. And we are talking about a game with a slow down bullet time mechanic for the second straight week, unintentionally. Last week we talked Max Payne, and this time around we're talking the FPS F.E.A.R. from the good old PS3, Xbox 360 era. I do believe this was initially a PC game as well, so I am going to chalk this up to my furthering the PC Master Race cause and my community service. I had no idea that F.E.A.R. had that same slow-down gameplay mechanic that Max Payne did when I scheduled it back-to-back with Max Payne. It just lined up that way. I just always thought this was a cool-looking first-person shooter that I've been wanting to fire up for years now. If you've never played it, you get to play as the Point Man, I believe is your name, Point Man. This guy who's part of this group, the F.E.A.R. group, and you're investigating this weird business that's conducting experiments and making people with weird brain powers and everything. And there's a creepy-looking dead girl like the one from The Ring following you around. And it's pretty neat. It's a pretty cool little game. Very, very respectable enemy AI, especially for a game that's 20 years old. It's got a decent story, solid gun gameplay. But it was a tricky review for a couple of reasons, okay? Number A, it's a 20-year-old game. And if you didn't play a game that old back when it came out, it can be very difficult to fairly separate what's a flaw in the game design versus what was just the style at the time that maybe hasn't aged super well. And number two, I played this game literally about 24 hours after I wrapped up Resident Evil Requiem. And they're kind of similar, you know, like shooting, horror, scary, blah games. And you can't fairly compare a 20-year-old game to a 20-day-old game. So it was like a little bit tough going back 20 years to play a game similar to one of the best games I've played in years that just came out in Resident Evil Requiem. Fortunately, I found a very sharp tack in the tack bag of my regular guests to help me out with this episode. Discord Power Hungry mod and co-host of the Retrotopia podcast, my buddy Captain N. They reviewed F.E.A.R. on his show last fall, so it was fresh in his mind. He had a lot to say about it, as did I, because I never shut the fuck up. And we turned out a pretty passable podcast about a very passable video game. And we'll get into all that in just a minute, because speaking of being passable, it's time for another edition of the Remember the Game infamous intro. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome aboard. Consider this your warning. Our intros are a little long. They're not that long. They're a little long, but they're fun. We talk video games and stuff. They're a good time. And you don't need to slow them down if you want to get through them. In fact, I would recommend you do the opposite. If anything, if you want to skip the intro altogether, take that little slider and just move it to about the 30-minute mark. You should be into F.E.A.R. game chat. And you don't have to yell at me over the length of the intro. Or listen to the whole thing, get the whole experience, eat your vegetables with your steak, and feel good about yourself. If you'll indulge me for just a couple of minutes, I got to do my plug. This is how we keep the bills on. Biggest plug, maybe the most important plug. I will be at the Calgary Gaming Collector Show this May 30th, Saturday, May 30th. It's only a couple of months away at the Acadia Recreation Complex in Calgary, 240 9th Ave Southeast. So I hope you can all come by, check that out, buy some games, buy some collectibles. There's card games, there's video games, there's board games, just a whole lot of nerds doing that thing where we nerd it up. I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully you can come by and say hi if you're in the Calgary area. You can find all the information at calgarygameshow.com. That is if the Calgary Game Show kids are listening to this, great website URL. That's easy. Well done. That's very simple. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you there on May 30th. And then of course I have to plug our Patreon. It's how we keep the bills on around here. We've got one. It's very, very, I don't know. I was going to say it's very, very good. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's good. It's fine. Lots of podcasts. You don't mind the sound of my voice. It's a pretty good deal. We publish up to 4 additional podcasts most week. There's no ads in them, and you can start listening for as little as $3 a month. Sorry, $3 a month. You can also write into the podcast, vote on the games we cover, join our 1,000+ member Discord, and get instant access to hundreds upon hundreds. There's literally almost 1,000 episodes over there now of archive bonus episodes. Those are available the second you sign up. And I stream Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So you can check those out over on Patreon as well. And in addition to all the extra content and everything, most importantly, you get a shout out and get to hear me mispronounce your name. Like I don't think I'm going to do to any of these people, but famous last words. We'll see how this goes. A huge thank you to our newest Patreons, Liam Barry, Nerf Herda, William Weber, Michael Fawner, and Joe Garson. I might have nailed all those. I bet you I didn't, but in my mind, I just knocked that shit out of the park. Thank you all so much for the support, and welcome to Remember the Game Industries. You can find all that at patreon.com/rememberthegame. There's some free episodes over there if you want to see how Patreon works. Again, subscriptions start at $3 a month, and if you sign up for a full year, we'll give you the 12th month on the house. That's enough blowing myself. Let's blow some of you by blowing in some cartridges. It is our opening segment here on the show. I read a few comments and questions from our patrons, usually gaming related, but not always, and we call this segment Blowing in the Cartridge.
He blows all right. He blows big time.
That's it, honey. Get into the spirit.
Let's blow. Our first blower this week is Jiggy Wampus, who says, Dear Mr. Blank, if you had to play through and beat the entire game catalog of one console, including all shovelware, which console would it be and why? In this scenario, you cannot save state. I don't think there's a console whose entire library I could beat without save states. But, okay. If there's any kind of consequences, it's like, hey, if you don't finish all these, you die. Virtual Boy? Is that the smallest library? It's got to be up there. It's like a dozen games. I'll say Virtual Boy. If I, although it might kill me from the VR or whatever the fuck. I'll go Virtual Boy if there's any kind of consequences. If there's not, and if it was just like a challenge, is there any system you can beat everything without save states? Even though a lot of you are going to be like, that's impossible. I'm going to go with the NES because it's always been my lifelong dream to play through and beat every single NES game. So I'll go NES if there's no consequences. Virtual Boy if it's one of those do it or die situations here. Although by the time I'm done with the Virtual Boy, I might wish I was dead anyway. So, the okayest of muffins says, hey, dude, I've been thinking about trying to get back into wrestling. I haven't really been following anything about it since the Ruthless Aggression era. I love the Ruthless Aggression. I figured a video game would be a good starting spot, preferably one with a good GM mode before I try to watch WWE or AEW. What game would you recommend for modern consoles? I would not recommend AEW Fight Forever. I like AEW, but AEW Fight Forever is awful. Fucking terrible. No. Unless you can get it, if you can get it free, give it a chance. But even then, you want a GM mode, it doesn't have it. WWE, the modern 2K games have a pretty decent GM mode because you can either go with Universe mode, where you can basically just do whatever the fuck you want. It's like a sandbox. Or there's an actual like My GM mode where you book the matches, manage a budget, try to outdraw the other shows. It's pretty cool too. That said, I would probably go with 2K25. Okayest of muffins. 2K26, the one that came out this year, is pretty cool, but it's not really going to get discounted for a while. Whereas 2K25, you should be able to snag pretty cheap pretty soon. And it's fairly modern. So that's my recommendation. I would go with WWE 2K25 if you want a modern console. If you're talking like older school, then maybe like a SmackDown Here Comes the Pain or something. But if you're going modern systems, WWE 2K25. And that goes to all of you that want to try a wrestling game. I actually get asked that question quite often. So good luck, my friend. I hope it goes well. AJ 2019 FTW. AJL 2019 FTW, pardon me, says, hey, Blankman, not sure about you, but I'm pretty excited for the upcoming Super Mario Galaxy movie. As am I. I already have tickets. Can't fucking wait. Anyways, that got me thinking about what other Nintendo IPs I'd like to see on the big screen, and your podcast has convinced me that I want to see a Mega Man animated movie. If this were to happen and you had the honor of playing a Robot Master, which one would you choose? Oh my God, that would be the greatest thing in my life. If I got a chance to voice a Robot Master in an animated Mega Man movie. I think I have to go with Cutman. Like, there's other Robot Masters that look cooler and I think would be more fun, but Cutman's always been my favorite Robot Master ever since the original cartoon with his crappy, you're going to pay, Mega Man. That, like, terrible voice they gave him. So I'm going to go Cutman. I'm going, Cutman all day. Please, by the way, Game Gods, if you're listening, give us a Mega Man movie. I don't care if it's animated or real life, but like, come on, you've done so many other... Dude, you could do 6 Mega Man movies just based on the first 6 games. It'd be so easy. Make your $2-3 billion and then just thank me later. Make it fucking happen, Capcom. Come on now. Leidenhoser says, good day, Sir Blank. May I borrow your mystical powers, please? I've been scouring the Nintendo site for the SNES and NES controllers for a few months now, but to no avail. I don't know if this is a continued ubiquitous Nintendo tactic, CUNT, move of artificial scarcity, well done, or if it's possibly being phased out, but damn it, I want those controllers. Is there anything you can do for me and those in the same position? Thank you and have a pleasant day. Boy, you know what? Leidenhoser, I would love to help you because I will say that those classic NES, those classic Nintendo games on the Switch are better experienced with the actual controllers. So I think they're a decent investment. Unfortunately, there is a cap on even my mystical powers of willing things into reality, and I don't know if there's anyone under the sun that can make Nintendo make more than 4 of something. Because that's what they do. They make like 6, and then they just fucking jack up the price. Well, they don't jack up the price. Well, they do jack up the price, but then the resellers re-jack up the price, and before you know it, you're paying like $300 for a fucking Nintendo 64 controller to play Nintendo 64 games on your Switch. So I will do my best, but I got to tell you, buddy, I think you're really pushing the limits of my powers. That is so, like, and the worst part is if you try to get them from, like, resellers now, they're just going for even more insane prices. It's fucking, God, fucking Nintendo. God forbid you just make more than 6 of anything. You fucking, I told you we should have got more than 3 bullets. Fucking Nintendo. God damn it. Yellow RC Car says, hello, Adamalus Blankalus. Is that even his real name? I know you couldn't really get into Fallout New Vegas, but after the success of the Fallout show, I think you need to give it another shot. Bugs aside, it's so much more fun than the other ones, and in previous episodes, you hinted at the fact that you either started it or were planning on it. Give the hot dogs what they want. True to Kaiser. Is that how they pronounced it on the show? Kaiser? I think it was. You know what? Okay, so for the record, yeah, like, I don't, because I know if I don't clarify this, I'm going to get a whole lot of like, you hate New Vegas? What the fuck? I don't hate Fallout New Vegas. It's just, I love Fallout 3. Fallout 4 was fine. I didn't like it as much as 3. I did play about 10 hours of New Vegas, and I didn't hate it. I just was kind of like, it just felt empty compared to 3. At least that's what it felt like to me. That said, I've also been hankering to give Fallout New Vegas another chance ever since watching season 2 of the show. Truth be told, dudes, like, I'm waiting now to see if these I know what's going to fucking happen. I'm going to sink like 20, 25 hours into a playthrough of Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas for an episode of Remember the Game. And then fucking Bethesda's going to like shadow drop these remasters, and I'm going to have to start from scratch. So I am giving it a little bit more. Listen, I promise all of you, like, I think I've even said it on an episode. I don't think there's a franchise I want to give an episode of Remember the Game to more than Fallout. I'm just waiting to see if these remakes or remasters happen, because I refuse to believe they are not in development right now, and I don't want to have to start over. And normally I play the original versions of games over the remasters so that I get a more honest review. But when it comes to Fallout, like, I've played enough of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas that I think I could play the remaster and then kind of, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or whatever it is with what you do, and like kill 2 mutants with 1 VATS, whatever the fuck, and kind of review Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas and review the remaster at the same time. So I'm just giving it a little bit more time to see those happen, but I promise y'all at some point Fallout is going to appear on Remember the Game. It has to happen, and it will, I promise. Tins says, hey, Adam, I think I already know the answer to this, but what are your thoughts on anime? I've never heard you reference or mention any of it, and I'm wondering if and when you'll get around to watching it. Highly recommend Attack on Titan and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood for good shonen starters. Shonen starters? I'm not sure what that means. It's absolutely peak when it comes to anything on a screen. Cheers and have a good weekend, guy. Nice. I don't know if that was supposed to be a reference to Cal from Undergrads, but if it was, that was well done. I'm not really an anime guy. I'm not like, what are you? Fuck, I can't remember. What are you called? What are you called if you're an anime fan? There's a term for it. Crunchies? Is that what is that? Because Crunchyroll, is that what you're called if you like anime? You're a crunchy? Anyways, for all you crunchies, I'm not anti. I don't know if that's actually what you're called. I know I think it's weebs or weebles or something, but I'm going crunchies. For all you crunchies out there, I'm not anti-anime. I'm just not particularly interested in it. And don't be offended. I'm not interested in any movies or TV shows, or very few. Dude, what did we just talk about on Game Patch this week? What's the name of the actress that's going to voice what's her name? Amy Rose in the Sonic movie, Kirsten Bell, whatever her name is. And we were going over that story, and I was like, who the fuck is that? And I Googled her, and I was like, Time Magazine's top 100 most influential people. And then I went through her whole filmography and hadn't seen anything. And I was like, I have no idea who the fuck this is. So don't be offended if I don't watch your anime. I just don't watch TV. Hardly ever. But no, the only anime I watched some Pokemon way back in the day, and I watched Samurai Pizza Cats, which I think is anime, but that's it. So, but I appreciate the suggestions, Tins. You have a good weekend as well, guy. Justin Combustion says, Adam, I've been re-listening to some of the OG Remember the Game episodes when comedy was really a bread and butter, and it got me thinking, do you now feel the same way about your comedy career as you feel about your past life at Uline? And do you think there will ever be a job that'll force you to hang up the mic on Remember the Game the same way Remember the Game let you pivot away from stand-up comedy? I don't think I'll ever... Yeah, so I guess if by chance you're newer to the show and don't know, I've been a comedian for 10 years, but I've really taken a step back from it over the last 12 months and focused on the podcast, and I don't really have a lot of interest in going back to comedy. No, I don't think I'll ever look back on my time as a comedian with even like a fraction of the disdain that I had for Uline, which was my last full-time job. I hate that fucking place. I don't think it'll ever happen that, because comedy taught me a lot of things. Right? Comedy helped me learn how to be self-employed. Obviously, it made me more comfortable behind a microphone. It was a bit of a dream when I started. But even back when I started comedy, I used to always say, like, I was like, this isn't what I want to do for a living. It's close, but it's not what I want to do. And then when I started podcasting, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. So I'll never hate it as much as I hated Uline. As far as do I think there'll ever be something that'll force me to walk away from podcasting the way podcasting let me walk away from comedy? I mean, never say never. I'm always looking for like a new adventure. Like my hobbies, I've had like 6 different collections, and I'll go hard on collecting for a few years and then just sell everything and be like, I gotta do something else. I'm a very short attention span person. I'm constantly like, the longest I've ever had a job outside of comedy was 6 years, and like I'm always switching things. I never want to be in the same place for too long. What I like about Remember the Game and what I do now is I do kind of have the creative freedom to change things up if I want to. Like if I wanted to change the format of the show or try a different kind of show or try streaming more or whatever the fuck, like it'll keep me from getting stagnant or as bored, you know? So I'm not going to say that I'll do Remember the Game forever. I often think about like what comes next. Cause like is anyone going to want to hear me talk about old video games in another 10 years? I don't know. But for the time being, I'm pretty comfortable here. So unless WWE calls and wants me to come in and be a manager, a mouthpiece, then I'm leaving. Sorry, guys, you'll never see me again. But otherwise, I don't know. I see myself podcasting or content creating in some fashion or another until I hang them up. More than likely. Or if a really good warehouse job came up, maybe. Because I do miss driving a forklift sometimes, but... Anyway, I digress. Before we move on, it's letter time. Shane's World says, hi, my blank. I'm assuming that was supposed to be Mr. Blank, but maybe my blank. I'll be your blank, Shane. Do you see yourself in the future no longer buying new consoles and either sticking to what you have or even going backwards and just collecting more retro consoles and games? For me, I think there'll be a time where I no longer have interest in modern gaming and decide to stick with what I have or start collecting from past generations. I've thought about that before as well, Shane. As long as I'm creating content about modern video games, I'll never not buy the new consoles. And I think even if I got out of doing this for a living and just went back to gaming as a hobby for fun, I just don't know if I've got the willpower to walk away from the new consoles altogether, you know? I think the only things that could really drive me out of console gaming or gaming altogether and make me just focus on the classics, because I could. Like I've said it before, if you told me my 2 options are I can only play everything that's been released up to now, or I can only play everything that's released from here moving forward, I'm playing everything that was released up to now, because I love the NES, the Super Nintendo. Like I'm always going to want to go back and play those games, right? I'll always have a more, a deeper connection to those types of games than I do modern stuff. I think the only things that would drive me out of modern consoles altogether would be if everything goes virtual reality or motion controls, because I hate those things, or if just stuff like the fucking microtransactions, loot packs, that kind of shit just gets so overbearing that's just what gaming is. If one of those 2 things happens, maybe at some point I just tap out and say I'm sticking to the old stuff. But otherwise, no, I don't see myself ever getting out of. I just love, like, I just love games. It, like, I can't imagine I know we must have some movie buffs listening to the show right now. I can't imagine a movie buff out there who's like, I'm never watching a new movie again. It's everything released up to 2020 and back, you know? And obviously gaming's a lot different because you got to buy specific hardware and all that kind of stuff. But it's just like, I just love the medium so much that I don't know if I could ever not pay attention to what it's doing. That said, if I have to choose between old and new, I'm going old every time because give me that NES charm. I got to beat every game someday. Anyway, we got to move on. Thank you, everybody that wrote into the show. I'll answer a few more questions on Left Blowers on the Rambling Idiot on Friday. But for now, let's switch things up and get to our Smash Hit segment, the official game show of Remember the Game Industry's Play One, Remake One, Erase One. And a huge thank you to Classic Concentration from the NES for unknowingly providing us with the theme music for the show. The rules are simple. Every week, I give our patrons 3 retro video games. They can play one as it was released, remake one as a modern game, and the third is erased from time forever. And as always, there are no wrong answers, but there is a right one. We'll get to that in just a minute. This week, we're talking F.E.A.R, and I couldn't really come up with a theme to fit that. So I have 3 shooters that may or may not involve aliens or slow-mo or monsters. Whatever. There's the Conduit for the Wii, Area 51, which I chalked up as Xbox because that's where I played it. I think it was on PS2 as well, though. And Time Splitters for the PS2. And obviously I suck at this because a whopping 42% of you said you'd play Area 51, remake Time Splitters, and erase the Conduit. So let's see what a few of you had to say here, and then I'll tell you what the right answer was. Mike Effin Banks says Time Splitters is an extremely underrated game. This would be even better with the modernized graphics and controls. Play Area 51 since I haven't, and erase the Conduit because Adam makes us destroy an innocent game every week. I like that. I do make you all destroy an innocent game every week. Well said, Mike. Well done. Savage Boosh says, finally, one that I've played all 3 games of back in the day. Played Time Splitters. Such a great series. Remake Area 51. I had so much fun with this one. Being able to turn into an alien mutant and just murk everyone was pretty sick. The controls and graphics definitely could use a rework, though. And then erase the Conduit. Just a forgettable game. Get lost. No love for the Conduit. No love for the Conduits. Doug Dorn says, right off the top, I'm remaking Time Splitters. I had some legendary sessions on it back in the day, and I'd love a remastered version. I guess I'll play Area 51 because the real thing always interested me as a kid, and I'll erase the Conduit because fuck the Wii, which is a common refrain around here. Although, if you didn't know, the Patreon poll that's running right now is all Wii games. So I promise y'all, I am going to show not only is the Wii going to get an episode of RTG in the near future because of the Patreon poll, but I have labeled it a Wii game as episode 400. So I don't like it, but I will show it a little bit of love, I promise. Double T says, play the Conduit. I never have, and I'd prefer to before remaking or erasing it. Remake Time Splitters so this series can get the fun resurrection it deserves, and then erase Area 51. I played it, but I can't remember anything about it, so it must not have been that memorable. You know, I played Area 51, and I kind of feel the same way. I hate to say that, but it was kind of forgettable, you know? Anyways. PP Soaked Heckhole says, play Area 51 because between this and my Time Splitters, it needs the remake less. Remake Time Splitters. 1, because even back then when the sequel came out, the first one was so bare bones, it was a skeleton. Oh, I see. Remake Time Splitters 1. I thought you meant remake Time Splitters 1 because of this, and 2, I understand. Okay. And then erase the Conduit because I never heard of it before, and I won't miss it once it's gone. I really thought the Conduit had more fans than it did. Apparently, I fucked this one up pretty hard. So I'm going with 12% of you. 12% answered correctly, as did Anthony Messina, who said, I'm going to play Time Splitters because I've never played it and I've always wanted to try it. I'm going to remake the Conduit. I just don't want to use the motion controls to play the game. And then I'm going to erase Area 51 just like our government officials say about the real Area 51. It is not a real thing. Different reasoning, same order. I'm going to play Time Splitters. Actually, that one is the same reasoning. Exactly what Anthony said. I've never played it and I've always wanted to. True story. We have not once, but twice planned an episode of Remember the Game around Time Splitters, and they've fallen through both times. Not because I don't like the game or I'm not interested. Other games have just come up. I promise you. Like, I have a guest lined up and everything. I just need to find time to play through it. I really want to play it. So Time Splitters will get a play. And then I wasn't sure on the remake because I was like, I liked Area 51, but I don't really remember it. It could probably use a facelift. I've never played the Conduit, but I remember being interested in it back in the day on the Wii, a rare Wii game that intrigued me. So I'm going to remake the Conduit into a non-Wii game so that I can like it. And then I'm going to erase Area 51 because it's the one of these 3 I've played. I think it was fine, but I don't remember a lot about it already. It's probably good. It's fine. So play Time Splitters, remake the Conduit, erase Area 51. Shout out to the 12% of you that got it right this week. Thank you, everybody that wrote in and played along as always. What have I been up to? And then we're going to get into F.E.A.R. I have been playing F.E.A.R. I finished it a couple of days ago. We're about to talk about that. I've been playing this little game you may or may not have heard of, Slay the Spire 2. It's pretty good. People keep asking me, is it any good? It seems great. It just seems like the first one on steroids. I haven't had nearly the amount of time to play it that I've wanted to. I've only done about 15 runs. I think I've only won one run. I've died on the last boss so many fucking times. I've only won one run so far. But I need to find more time to play Slay the Spire 2. It's very, very good. I'm playing a little bit of WWE 2K26. Same exact thing as Slay the Spire 2. I'd love to find more time to play it. I just haven't yet. I'm playing Secret of Evermore on the SNES to get ready for an upcoming episode of the show. And then I've been playing a little bit of Pokemon Leaf Green. Unintentionally playing Pokemon Leaf Green for an episode of the show as well. And I've been doing it on my Patreon stream. So I'm halfway through. I have 4 badges. It's been pretty fun. So anyway, that's it. Okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to play a retro gaming ad. We're going to let a sponsor in to peddle their wares, keep my bills on. And when we get back, it's fear and nothing but fear. Okay? Remember, the game will return after these messages.
By now, you've all heard the rumors. We're here to give you the facts. What people call Area 51 is just a government research facility. There are no bizarre medical experiments. There are no space aliens. And everything at Area 51 is totally under control.
The conspiracy is no longer a theory. Area 51, available now with online play. Rated M for mature.
Now, any questions?
All right, let's talk some fear. As always, I'd like to let you nerds sound off on the game we're covering before my guest and I hug the microphone. So let's rip through some of these comments here. Triple3 says, great game, and while the story is creepy as hell and entertaining, it's the multiplayer that I have to gush about. I played so many multiplayer matches back in the day when this released. Such a fast-paced shooter with a unique horror vibe that the Halo and Call of Duty games couldn't give you. The gunplay has always been great, and it's even better in multiplayer. I love how they handled the slowdown mechanic. I have very fond memories of playing this with buds. I will say for the record, I'm glad you wrote that in, Triple, because I don't have a lot to say about the multiplayer. The servers I don't think are even online anymore, but even if they were, everyone knows I have no friends. This is one of those games that I know some people would like to hear some multiplayer talk of, and I just have nothing to add to that. So I'm glad we have somebody popular come in and talk about what it's like playing with other humans. That's nice. That's good shit. I think this game would have been a lot of fun. And for the record, I think this game would have been a blast in multiplayer. Like the creeping around and everything, I could see it. It seems like a jacked up GoldenEye. I think it could have been pretty rad. So, Alan McCrary says this game was so good back when it released. Real AI and the enemies who flank and call out your position is something you still don't see much of to this day. And the mix of action, especially with the slow motion abilities before they got overdone by every game, and the horror sequences is something you're still seeing done today in games like Resident Evil Requiem and others. This one was ahead of its time. Now that I've played it, I kind of agree with that. I see that now. Rose636 said, I haven't played this since the late 2000s, so I have no idea how it holds up. But seeing people talk about it online, their impressions are that it's a bit jank, but the AI holds up great. Been wanting to replay this for a while. First-person shooter bullet time mixed with creepy Japanese girl ghosts was a great mix. Is the ladder scene still scary for a newcomer? I've seen it so many times it has just no impact anymore. When I first read your comment, Rose, I was like, what the fuck? What was the ladder scene? I don't remember that. So then I YouTubed it and was like, oh yeah, no. I think we talked about it in the episode for a second, but the old sphincter got pretty tight there for a second. I do remember that part now, yes. And it does still scare you, yes. Michael Korneski says, I love Fear when I played it on the 360. It's a great FPS campaign with the kind of atmosphere that many games have tried to copy but rarely get right. I remember thinking that they perfected bullet time, and I couldn't get Alma out of my head for some time. I love the second and third games as well. They created a very cool universe in the Fear series. See, I really want to play the second one now. Because spoilers are coming. I'm warning you right now. Like when we talk about Fear, it's a 20-year-old game. We're spoiling shit. We are going to talk about the ending. And the ending I went from like, yeah, I'll probably check out the sequel to seeing the ending and be like, I have to see it. I have to see another one of these now. Onion Knight says, I remember being 15 and finally getting this game with my lawn mowing money, getting home and having my dad get it downloaded on his PC. Alas, the evening time rolled in faster than I anticipated, so I went to sleep for school the next day. I wake up to my dad being near the end. He sees me and chuckles before saying, man, you're going to get scared from this one. He was right. I was terrified after the first encounter with the crazy cannibal dude. Incredible game that I revisited just a few years ago. My dad didn't play games. I can't imagine my dad. That would rock my fucking world if I got up for school and my old man pulled an all-nighter playing a video game. Would have blown my fucking mind. He sucks at games. Skawamp says, the kinetic energy in the weapons in this game is a blast. Literally, every weapon feels like it could take out a tank. And when combined with bullet time, there are a few games in which you play a super soldier that had me feel more like a super soldier. I love the fucking energy weapons in this game. Agreed. And J-Mart says, this game had some jump scares that fucking got me. I feel like The Ring, a movie Adam hasn't seen, came out pretty recently, and they leaned into that. The bullet time in this game was awesome, and I remember they had the Unreal Engine working overtime with all the ragdoll effects. I will never forget running and sliding into an enemy and watching their lifeless body go flying. I read that because, for the record, while I haven't seen a lot of movies, I have seen The Ring. In fact, I think I say it during our review, but The Ring is why I don't like scary movies, because that movie fucked me up. And the girl from this game is so much like the girl from The Ring, it's fucking horrifying. It just wasn't quite as scary as The Ring was. The Ring is, I hate that fucking movie, because it's a good movie, but it's just too spicy for my sensitive stomach. Anyways, it's time to talk some F.E.A.R. with Captain N. I am going to cue up some F.E.A.R. music. And when it stops, Cap and I are going to take you back to October 18th, 2005 and talk F.E.A.R, which originally released back then for PC. I played the PS3 version. Still played just great. We'll talk about it now. Enjoy the episode, everybody. Here we go. All right, joining me via the blank phone on a it's Monday. I don't know, Monday's Monday. But joining me via the blank phone on a Monday afternoon to talk some F.E.A.R is probably the moderator of our Discord most people live in fear of. And that is my friend Captain Hen. That's a good fucking segue right there. That's a good intro.
I think people are more fearful of Stupid Monkey because when he shows up, that means shit's real. But, you know, I'm there more often.
That's true. Yeah, you're like the mom, and then Stupid Monkey's like, don't make me get your father. And then he comes in and gets mad.
Yeah.
And then Keegs is just the fucking not all there uncle.
Yeah, exactly. He's the guy who sleeps on the couch.
Yeah, spot on. Oh, fuck. How's it going, pal?
It's going good. Thanks for having me again. I always love doing this.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Anytime. And this week we're talking F.E.A.R, which actually, what is this? I got it right here. What does this stand for? It stands
First
for
Encounter Assault Recon, oxymoron of a title.
We will be calling it F.E.A.R from here on out because I'm not saying all those words. You guys reviewed this one on your show.
Yeah, we did it for our Halloween episode because it is basically a horror game. And anytime you have a little girl that just appears like a ghost, it is probably the scariest shit in my life. Like I don't know what it is about little girls and horror movies, but that just ramps it up.
Agreed. Dude, somebody so like you haven't heard the infamous intro to this yet, but somebody in the game comments on the infamous intro wrote in saying that the girl in this game reminds them of the movie The Ring.
It's actually based around the girl from the movie of The Ring, so that there's a reason for that.
Oh, is it? I didn't realize it was like...
Yeah, it was taken some different Japanese horror tropes, and The Ring was one of them.
Because I think I replied to them on the intro that I haven't recorded yet, but that is a movie that I've seen. I know I haven't seen a lot of movies, but I not only have I seen The Ring, but I'll be fully honest with everybody. The Ring is why I don't like horror movies. Because that movie fucked me up, man. She's terrifying. Terrifying.
I hit a point in my life where I used to love horror movies like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, all those movies, all the way up to like The Cabin and all these different horror movies. And just somewhere I broke and now I can't watch them. Just like my heart starts beating too fast. And I'm like, oh no, am I going for the big heart attack here now?
Yeah, I just, no offense to anybody out there that likes it, because everyone likes their own things, but like, I've never, even when I wasn't like terrified of horror movies, I've never understood the draw of that emotion. Like, I'm just like, that, it's like, I don't like really spicy food. I don't mind a little bit of spice, but I don't want to be in pain when I eat. And I don't mind a little bit of tension or fear, but I don't want to be like, thinking I'm going to die while I'm watching a movie. I just can't do it, man. I can't.
And I drink enough that I don't need a horror movie to pee my pants.
Yeah, spot on. And this one, yeah, like when I fired this one up, I was honestly, because I've been wanting to play this one for quite a while, and I was like, fuck, please don't be that scary. Like I was like, I know the name is F.E.A.R, and it looks like the Ring girl on the cover, but I was also like, it is a 20-year-old game, and it's hard for a horror game to age gracefully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
especially with the graphics improving as they do.
Yeah, and that's what I was just like, I literally jumped into this the day after I finished Resident Evil Requiem. Like the day afterwards. And
Wow.
so like it felt so soft compared to like I do think on paper Fear is a scarier game than Resident Evil 9. But
I I think it was scary when it first came out, but I think this is also the building block of like modern games, how they develop fear and scary stuff in their games. So this game was very what's the word I'm looking for? Very psychological when it did its scary moments. Like it wasn't a bunch of jump scares. There was a lot of tense moments, like Silent Hill, where you're walking through the streets and you hear the noises.
yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And it was like and it to me these are some of the hardest games to review because it does everything it's supposed to. Like, I really like it. For the record, like out of the gate, I really like this game. I got to play the second and third one. I did really like it, but it's so difficult to play a game that's 20 years old and look at it fairly. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm
No,
like,
yeah, I
everything this
understand.
game does has been done better since this game.
That's actually the hardest part about doing a show like this is a lot of what you're playing has been improved on. So
Yeah. And
that's
so
I
you wanna be fair, but you also don't want to like you can't just give it a pass either.
yeah, yeah.
You know?
I like to look at it through the nostalgia glasses and try to remember how I felt when I first played it because I bought this when it first came out. It was like one of the first PC games I ever bought,
Right.
and it was. I remember just like there's one particular moment. I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's one particular moment about this game that sits with me as probably one of the scariest things I've seen in my life. Like one of the moments where my heart started beating and I actually turned off the game because I was like, "Nope, I am fucking done."
No shit.
Yeah, and you'll know
Uh
what it is once we get to it. I'll tell you when we get there.
okay, cuz I I got to be honest, man. Like I don't know if it's cuz it is 20 years old or whatever, but like I didn't find it that scary.
Oh, you also just finished Resident Evil 9, like you
Maybe
said,
that's what it
so
was.
your
Yeah.
bar was pretty high at that moment.
Maybe like it's like sure there are moments where yeah it gets a little bit tense like it's and we're gonna get into all that and it was a cool it's a really cool game but I outside of a couple of like yeah they a couple of like maybe not full blown jump scares but like you see like it's someone coming at you and then they disappear and that kind of freaks you out a little bit.
Or you walk
I
into a
never
room and you shoot something and it just disappears like a Thanos snap.
yeah. But I never really found myself like, oh my god, I might shit my pants, like scared of this one. I just thought it was really cool. If you've never played it, it's and I'm speaking purely on the single player. I don't even think the multiplayer servers are up anymore.
I think they've been shut down.
Yeah. I played the PS3 version. For the record, I played it on my PS5 with cloud streaming off PS Plus. I played the entire game that way, didn't run into a single issue. So just want to tip my cap to PS Plus and it's I would have preferred to be able to download and play it, but it ran flawlessly. Like the whole
Yeah.
thing, not an issue. Now I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Oh yeah. If you never played it, long and short, it's first person shooter, and you're part of this first encounter assault recon team. You're the point man. And basically there's like a company and you're going in and quite very early on in the game, you realize that they're toying with like supernatural stuff and telepathy and all that kind of shit. And you're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And then the ball goes down the hill from there and shit gets scary and crazy and lots of shooting and stuff like that.
Don't forget that the whole game starts out on the premise that you're like some special version of this fear soldier that they're all like, well, he's never been field tested. It's like no better time than now.
Yeah. And okay, so here's my biggest gripe with Fear by a mile. And I don't know if it was my settings, but I played with every setting I could find in the game. I could not hear half of what the voice, like the radio guy in my head and stuff like that was saying. Like I couldn't understand what they were saying. Like it was so quiet. And I played with every fucking setting I could find, and I could not get the voices higher. So I missed like a third of this story playing through the game because I'm like, I can't hear what you're fucking saying. And I appreciate that they put so many like blinking phones and blinking laptops where you can go listen to voicemails and get the information. There's so many. And again, I couldn't understand some of what they were saying. And I hate it. I hate it. I don't mind it when games do like audio logs that you can find to give you more information on the story. This game, I feel like the story basically relies on you tracking those down.
It really does. It really fills in a lot of the yada, yada, yada of the story because Yeah, they start off pretty strong with that psychic bad guy there who takes control of an entire army with mind powers, and then it just kind of fizzles for a while. And as you're ramping up to the end of it, you're in that office building, and like you said, it's just from message machine to message machine to message machine to fill in everything that's been missing.
Yeah. And I don't mind when games, like, I mean, that's like one of the most tried and true tropes in video games now, or like the audio logs or whatever you find to get more information. And I have zero issue with that, but I do have a slight issue when basically the entire plot of the game relies on them. And sure, they're not
Yeah.
hard to find in this with like the blinking red lights and that kind of stuff. But then I also hate when you go to listen to an audio log and the further away you get, the less you can
Yeah.
I know that like the smart way to do it is leave voice recorders around so you can play and then like have it on you as you're walking around or whatever the fuck, right? But this one, there was so many of them and I could barely understand what half of them were saying. And then by the time I got to the end of the game, like I finished the game and I get the basic gist that like that guy is the bad guy and he seems to be controlling this girl or something, and they're scared this girl's gonna get out, and this company's been covering shit up, and like I get parts of it, but I had to read the synopsis because I was like, I'm basically just going room to room shooting everything that moves.
Yeah, I managed to catch the whole that girl is the father of you and the bad guy or the antagonist, and that's the reason you have psychic powers, but she's like cray cray, so they kept her dead inside of this thing for a while, and she's been psychically guiding you to her, and then that lets her escape, but then you end up killing her or something like that. And uh it basically, the whole story takes place at the beginning and at the end, and like we've been saying, the filler in the middle. So
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing. Like I think it's a cool story. I enjoyed the
it
combat.
is.
We'll get into
Yeah.
all that. It's a cool game. I would have. I think there's a limit to how much of a story you can tell through optional audio logs, and I think this one went
Yeah.
a little too far that way.
It really could use a lot of cutscenes there, something just to kind of add exposition in the middle.
Agreed, because dude, there's like fuck all for cutscenes.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I got this fucking reputation as a guy who I don't hate cutscenes. It's like, it's so many messages from people like, oh, he's gonna hate all the cutscenes. I hate unskippable cutscenes, and I hate games that are nothing but cutscenes. Metal Gear Solid.
Yes.
But like, I don't mind cutscenes. If you're telling me a good story, cutscene away. And this one, frankly, could have used some cutscenes.
Yeah. No, the cutscenes are great when they actually explain something or maybe give you a breath of like a fresh breath of air between action. But
Yeah.
you're right. You're walking through this entire game and you're basically going from left to right nonstop. It is a lot, to be honest. And I think it's probably its weakest point for me is the fact that there is no kind of breakups as you go throughout this, besides going between levels.
Agreed. Yeah. 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 Because that's like, and again, I'm just getting the negatives out of the way. So I thought the story, cool. The telling part of it needs a little bit of work. And then I agree with you. The other thing about it, and I did see some other people online saying this too when I was looking up reviews after I was done. The combat is very, very good, and we'll talk about that. But like, I could have lived with a little bit of something that wasn't just either creepily walking through dark hallways waiting to be scared or shooting everything.
Or maybe more than like 3 enemy types.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I would play it for an hour or two and like I would finish an interval or whatever the chapters were called. And then I'd be like, I don't think I feel like doing another one right now because it is very, very much just the same.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the story and the idea that like these are all soldiers being controlled by this fucking crazy girl or whoever it is that's controlling them, that's making them all attack you and stuff. And I was like, so then it kind of makes sense why it's the same few enemies, because it's like you're not fighting demons from hell or anything. You're fighting like soldiers and shit, right? So like that kind of made sense. But I was like, you could have. I wish they had. I think they were relying on the AI of the enemies to offset the lack of variety of enemies.
Yeah, and that's where they put most of their focus in too. Is like this was a revolutionary enemy AI at the time. The fact that they could do what they did was pretty amazing, to be honest. Like they were able to actually create tactics. So instead of just being like a normal enemy at the time and rushing you, they would call out your location. They would take cover. They would flank you. They would do all sorts of different things, kind of making the game a little more, I guess, anew every time you play through the game. And they would learn from you as well. So if you started using the same tactic all the time, they would learn from you and know how to counter you.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
And I'll give them their flowers for this. Like I played this now for the first time 20 years after it came out. And like the AI isn't revolutionary, but it's still a very respectable AI 20 years
Yeah.
later.
Oh,
Like
it holds up.
oh dude, like I'm not a very tactical person. Like I've never shot a gun in my life. If you and I tomorrow were like, we're the only two people left in this bank, we need to fight off the robbers and get out. You're like, and you were giving me like the hand signals of like, you go left, I stop here, like the holding up fist. I would just be like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like my
There'd
goal
be
is like
only
go in the
one. Yeah, there'd be one hand signal I gave you, and it's the one to tell you you're on your own.
That's like, yeah, like when I play a shooter like this, I go into the room, I shoot until I'm out of health or close, and then I run away, heal, and come back, rinse and repeat. And I'll give it credit. Like this game doesn't, I mean, it will let you do that, but I really did find myself like whenever I'd go through a wall or a door, I'd look through the windows first and see if there's a dead end one way. If there's a dead end one way, turning my back to there, creeping around, leaning over the corner and looking, because the enemies in this game aren't particularly tough to kill. But what I liked about it was like if you just run in guns a blazing and try to, like, they will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Like I almost every death I had came from me overestimating my abilities and running into a room, and just your health will go from like 150 to 25 in like 3 seconds.
Oh yeah, because they will. Yeah, like you said, they just absolutely destroy you if you're not prepared. If you don't sneak in there and try to take one of them out or surprise them and throw them off their game, then they are just fucking brutal.
They're brutal. And that's why, like, and you brought this up, I played about halfway through the game before I really clicked with the strategy of like listening to them. Like he's trying to flank us, or like,
Yeah.
man down over here. And then you're like, you just learn, hey, there's still, if you can hear talking, they're not all dead. And you can learn about something about their strategies or what they think you're going to do. And it really does play a huge role in the combat of the game.
Oh yeah. And it definitely changes how you approach every kind of room where you have to fight them. Because another nice thing about this game is when you're going to get into a battle like that, they do give you multiple ways to get through the room. So it's not just piping you through a hallway. So you're able to go behind boxes or stacks, or you're able to go up on like a balcony or something like that and shoot down. So you have options. So you can approach it. If you die, you approach it from a different way, and you try to figure out how to, get through the game that way. It's probably the best feature of the game is the AI of the enemies.
Agreed. Yeah. No, it was fantastic. Like, I don't know if I would go as far as to say that the competent AI offsets the lack of variety.
No.
But
No.
at least it's not, like, for a comparison, like I love a good beat 'em up like anybody else, but the problem with 90% of beat 'em ups is that like by the end of an hour of playing it, you're like, I'm bored.
Yeah,
like it's just
every enemy.
right. And in this one, I'm not going as far as to say it's like a shoot 'em up, beat 'em up, but it is like the same 3 or 4 enemies with the same half a dozen weapons over and over and over again. And 100% of the spice of the adventure comes from their AI. And like you said, using the different environments. And that was something I noticed as I was playing through it. Like it's a very claustrophobic game.
Yeah.
And I think that serves it so well.
Oh, it does. I know you said you didn't like when you go through a hallway in there and like the lights flicker and then a ghost or apparition walks by, but I found that very great to the atmosphere they're trying to present, especially when Alma, the little girl, shows up there and she like just starts walking towards you, or the hallway starts on fire, or the one I was been alluding to is when you turn around on a ladder and she's standing there.
Okay, so that was, somebody mentioned that in the comments too. They were like, is the ladder scene still as scary as it was 20 years ago?
For me,
and I was like, I don't remember a ladder scene. And then I Googled it and I was like, oh yeah, that made me shit my pants a little bit. Yeah.
That was the time I sat there and I literally just noped out of the game. I turned it off. I turned all the lights in the house on. I'm just like, I am not doing this for the rest of the night.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, like the only times the game really scared me were a couple of those kind of like jumpy scares where, yeah, like you turn around and she's fucking right there, or somebody is right there, or else there was a part right at the tail end of the game, like probably in the last like 15 minutes of the game, where she like appears 3 or 4 different times, and you're like going toward going to like those hospital doors, and you see her like walking through the glass of the hospital door and killing the guy. And then you turn around and she's in the hallway walking toward you, and you've already fought her off once or twice. And she killed me there a couple of times. And yeah, like it's the ring girl, and you put her in this fucking hallway, and like I think what adds to the fear of her is that if she gets to you, it's not that she hurts you, like you're dead.
Yeah.
It's over. It's just she gets to you, the load screen comes up and you're like, start again. And so she ramps up the tension. And
Yeah.
I didn't find it particularly scary, but there were a couple instances where I went one-on-one with her and I was like, fuck this. Fuck this.
She by far was the best part of the entire game for me, like bar none, is the fact like right from the beginning when she's standing in the flames there and that kind of introduces you to her to every time she shows up. It was just moments where you'd always like you get into a big battle and you start walking down a hallway and it's the absence of enemies that really set this up because now you know something's going to happen. And either it would just like flicker the lights and you'd walk through a room and nothing really would happen, or all of a sudden, boom, there she is. And you're just like, oh, yeah, fuck no.
Yeah. And that's, you know what? That's a good point too. And that's something I think the developers deserve a lot of praise for. Was I thought the pacing was just a little bit off when you were
Yeah.
fighting too many enemies in a row. But I do think one of the things they did very, very well was they would split up, like you'd fight a bunch of enemies, and then like you said, you would end up in like a dark hallway or a corridor or a utility hall or whatever the fuck. And you never knew if around the next corner you were going to be fighting, if something was going to jump out and scare you, or if there was going to be nothing. And I thought they did a great job of mixing and matching all three of those to where I got to tell you, maybe I was just oblivious, but I played the entire game constantly creeping around corners, not knowing what was coming next. And it wasn't
Yeah.
so much that I was scared, even it was just tense, you know?
No, no, it's the same thing with Silent Hill there. You walk around the foggy streets there, just, poking your head around just to make sure somebody's not dragging a sword towards you.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that really helped this game was there's no music in the game, really. It's all ambient, like ambience
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So when you're walking through a hallway, you're not listening to like a little jingle there like you would in like Half-Life if you've been, void of an enemy for a few minutes. It'll play a little song. This one is just about the ambience of the music and the sound effects and stuff like that. So that's all you hear, and that just adds to it so much. It's really well done with the absence of something you expect.
Agreed. Yeah. You mentioned it. I think I tweeted it or I said it somewhere while I was playing it. Not like it's not a Half-Life clone or anything, but it definitely had some Half-Life vibes at
Yeah.
times. And particularly, yeah, like I noticed that as well. And I really, really like that. Like I love a good soundtrack to a game as much as the next person. But like when that's not, if you're not trying to make me feel like an action hero, like if you're trying to make it feel tense and like you don't have any help, like you're supposed to be part of this fucking team and you never have a fucking team.
Yeah.
Like you're always just you. And when you're walking through these, I actually thought the coolest part of the game was when you were in the offices. And like you could smash through the windows and creeping through the offices and all that kind of stuff. And the lights are flickering and sometimes you can see shadows and sometimes you can't. Or you see a shadow and then you'd go up and then there'd be nothing there.
Yeah.
And it really does a great job of like, because let's be honest, the graphics of a game in 2005 aren't as engrossing as the graphics of a game in 2025.
No, absolutely not.
Right. Like same as like when you like, I like playing Half-Life or Half-Life 2. When they first came out, it felt like you're like, it'll never look better than this. And now you're like, that doesn't look that good. But it definitely, I think they did such a great job with the lighting, the shadows, and the sound effects that for a game that I could tell was a video game, I was very lost in this world when I was walking through some of these hallways.
Yeah, and there's kind of neat things about the game as well. If you're in moments where you can actually like peek underneath a door or in between like a slightly open elevator, there's usually something happening through those little gaps that you can watch. And it's like the little girl shows up and like disappears somebody, or the soldiers' minds explode and all that kind of stuff. Little Easter eggs as you explore around, but you can very easily miss them because if you're not like really looking through all the gaps or you're just going forward, they're just easily missable.
Yeah. And that kind of comes back to that point of the voice logs and stuff where like, again, just, I know I'm repeating myself, but just to make this abundantly clear, I'm not anti voice logs to tell a story, but when your whole story relies on them, I know I missed some. I wasn't even trying to. Like I explore pretty well. Like I found tons of those health upgrades and the reflex upgrades, which we'll talk about and stuff. But like I know I missed some stuff, and like at times I almost felt overwhelmed. I was like, I know I'm gonna miss something. Like there's so many, because it's for such a linear game. It's crazy how many vents you can kick out of the wall and climb into, or like narrow utility hallways you can go around and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like I would die and then on a rerun of that area, find a hall that I missed on my first playthrough.
Yeah, it does really
You know?
feel very open considering you're just using one path to get to the end.
Yeah. Really, really well designed. And frankly, like, it's pretty impressive. Like, they don't, I'm not saying the game is like uber realistic, but it's surprisingly realistic outside of the creepy dead girl that blows up brains. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of it does feel very real. And that can be like, the more realistic your game is, like, sometimes the harder it is to keep you hooked the whole way, because you're like, there's nothing crazy going on here. And they found a way to, they don't even give you a ton of guns. There's only like half a dozen guns in the game.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was, you were the same as I was, but did you just kind of stick to like one or two guns, like the pistols akimbo, because you always found ammo and maybe a submachine gun?
I used the shotgun pretty much the entire game. Cause I loved how it made guys blow up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I was a shotgun, and then I'd switch between a couple of the, I don't know a lot about guns, but a couple of the like machine guns or rifles, whatever I could find ammo for.
Yeah.
And then for the last like half of the game, my third gun was always like a rocket launcher or one of the laser guns, like something powerful to take out the turrets or those motherfucking giant armored fucking things.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they even are, but whenever I found one, I was like, fuck. Put it in slow-mo, unload an entire mag, and then if they're not dead, rinse and repeat. Fuck me. So that's what I rolled with.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize, go ahead.
I was going to say, I always went with the 10 millimeter penetrator because that one really spoke to me personally.
Because 10 millimeters?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
That's 0.4 inches for you Americans.
Yeah. Wow, look at you. I would have known how many inches that is. Look at you. You've done the math. What I liked too, and I didn't realize it till I was almost done the game. I died once, and like it has those little like I love games that have the little tips pop up on the loading screens.
Oh yeah, those are always good.
And one of the tips was like different guns, like you walk at different speeds with different guns, and I never realized that.
Oh yeah, that's right, isn't it?
And I was like,
forgot about that.
Yeah, and you haul ass with the shotgun. And so like, yeah, any time I wasn't in active combat, it was like shotgun, moving fast, and if something jumps out, this should explode them.
Yeah.
So kept me alive. I'm a horrible shot. So I'm team shotgun in almost every game there is a shotgun.
The living embodiment of spray and pray.
Yeah, dude. And like that, and again, some of the deaths in this game, oh my God. You blow them up, they shoot with the shotgun, and it's like you stuck a grenade up their ass. Like
that's honestly why I like the penetrator, because it shot the staple out there and you like pin them to the wall. And then like just like they're, you got two spikes through their shoulders there, and they're just up on the wall there, absolutely fucked over. Then you take the shotgun, you just boom.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you have issues and your parents don't talk to you anymore. No.
10 millimeters. Fuck. No, some of the deaths of this game are pretty sick. And then so let's get the break in. So the sponsors don't yell at me. I really want to talk about the slow-mo in this game. That's where I was about to go, but I'll let a sponsor in so that I keep my bills on. And then we'll do the slow-mo and everything. Remember the game will return after these messages.
Fresh from the sewer and into your Nintendo Entertainment System comes Ultra's version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now you can take control of these heroes in a half shell as they nunchuck, swim, and bazooka blast their way through sewers and streets, ridding the world of rival robots, wretched ruffians, and the evil Foot Clan forever. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're out of the sewers and available where Ultra games are sold.
Okay, so this was completely unplanned by me, but 7 days ago we covered Max Payne, which is arguably best known for the bullet time mechanic, the slow-mo. I had no idea that F.E.A.R had the slow-mo in it as well. I had no fucking clue.
Yeah, but they call it reflex time because it's not bullet time like Max Payne. He's so great at what he does that he has magnificent reflexes. So that's what world slows down around him when his reflexes kick into overdrive.
Right.
Just to nerd
it's the
that
same
up.
thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the bullet time. But you're right, it does. And I gotta say, dude, like when we reviewed Max Payne last week, we were talking about how stoked we are for the remakes that Remedy's working on, because I was like, I can't wait to see that slow-mo bullet time shit in like modern graphics and how sick it'll look. And this was obviously 2 generations after Max Payne. And buddy, I gotta say, some of the like seeing the like wavelengths of like the bullets going by, like this, like when they wave in the air and shit like that. And some of the deaths and like the way you hear them yelling in slow-mo and everything. It was pretty fucking, I felt like I maybe relied on it a little bit too much.
Oh, you have to rely on it. It's not a gimmick; it's a necessity. And this game is just particularly reliant on this reflex time because if you do get yourself like surrounded by enemies, that reflex time can get you out of a jam really quick.
Okay, so all right, good. See, I'm happy to hear that because that means it wasn't just me. Because I was like, as I was playing through the game, especially the second half of the game, I was like 2 out of 3 combats, I was going to my reflex time and
You have
slowing it
to.
down. A, to take out a few enemies, and B, while it's doing that, it gives you a chance to like get a scope of the land and be like, okay, there's 2 up there on that balcony, and then there's 1 over there behind that barrel, you know?
Yeah.
And I really thought maybe I was abusing it, but to hear that from you as well, I'm like,
No,
maybe I wasn't. Maybe that the game is designed around using it then.
if they give you a feature like that, then fucking use it. It drives me nuts when people are like, I don't use it because that's cheating. And it's like, no, it's a feature of the game.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess I really, there were so many rooms that I'd run into and not use it and get fucked up, but then I would use it and I'm like, there we go. And I whooped everybody's ass and strolled on to the next area. And so, I was honestly conflicted with myself as I was playing and I'm like, was it poorly designed to where you have to use the reflex time, or did they build it up so you would use the reflex time? And I'd like to think it was the latter.
Well, I imagine it was because I imagine like by the end of the game, the AI has learned enough about you that your tactics are pretty much, night and day to them. So the reflex time really just kind of adds you changing stuff up. So yeah, I imagine it was built around the idea that the AI would be countered by the reflex.
Yeah, you're probably right. Because
Oh
you
no,
never,
I am right. No.
No, I agreed. I hope like that, or it was an incredibly happy coincidence that it worked out, that it works so well with these rooms. So, because you never have any help, or I don't think you ever really have any
No,
help.
well, you start out the game with that entire squad that gets wiped out in the first 10 seconds. So that's a
Yeah.
help. That's help kind of.
Useless fucks. And then also like, because you get those health kits and you can pick up those medi kits and you have a max of 10. And it was so presumably by design, I would have areas of this game where I had 10 medikits and then I'd come across one and I'd only been missing like 15 health and I would use I'd use a med kit just to pick up the one that was laying there. I'd be like, well, I might as well because I'm never going to be back this way. But then I ran into other instances a couple of times in the second half of the game where like I was out of med kits and it got fucking tense because you're getting pinned down by these enemies. And I don't think this game is particularly forgiving with its checkpoints.
No, it really isn't. So being vigilant is very important in this game, and doubling back isn't actually a bad strategy sometimes, just to see if you miss something, because the enemies don't respawn behind you, which is a nice thing. 'Cause
Very nice.
it's not how life works, but it's also it prevents you from just rushing in. Like the game really forces you to take your time when it comes to an actual firefight.
Yeah, it does. And you know what? And this is one of those things that I could see, especially in 20 years ago. We had checkpoints in game. Like checkpoints at the games back in the day aren't like the checkpoints now. You know, where like you get a checkpoint every 10 seconds in games now.
Yeah.
And listen, most of me appreciates that. You know, I'm like, I have a finite amount of time to play my games. I don't want to have to redo 45 minutes over and over again. Thank you for the quick checkpoint. Let me try again. But I also think, and particularly with people, old timers like you and I, people that grew up in the old school days where there wasn't a lot of checkpoints and it was start the level over, start the game over, whatever the fuck. I can appreciate games that do that. And I actually, well, there was the occasional time where I would die in this game and then have to go back 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'd get a little bit irritated because I was on a clock and I'm like, I got to get this fucking game done for the review, which just comes with this job. There was a big part of me that actually really, when I finished the game, I was like, some of those firefights got so much more intense because of the punishment of losing. You know, like I have 1 health kit left and I'm at like 40 health. And I'm like, do I just use this now? Or do I hold on to this and hope that I can get through this fight and keep 1 more health kit? And I appreciate that. You know, because it really ramps up the tension of knowing you're going to have to go back and go through 15 minutes of the game if you die.
Yeah, and there's that satisfaction when you do finish the firefight and you still have that one health pack left, and you walk into a room and it's like a smorgasbord of new health packs and ammo, and you're just like, oh, thank God.
Oh yeah. Or dude, I'm ashamed of how long it took me to realize if I pick up a health booster, I get all my health back. And so I wanted to ask you, because I wanted to tweet this, but I didn't know how to word it to where people could answer me. Say you're in that situation, okay? Like your max health is 150 and you have like 40 health left and you have one healing kit that'll take you up to 90. Are you the type that like, I'm using this right fucking now because that's why I have it? Or are you the type of like, I'm not dead yet, I'm going to hold on to this just a little bit longer? Because I'm B, and a lot of the time it doesn't do me any favors. Like, I don't know why I don't just use the health kit.
It's the old Final Fantasy elixir thing. You grew up in the Final Fantasy 2 on the SNES days. You don't use the elixirs, period.
Yeah.
But answering your question, I'm kind of both, depending on the situation, like how much damage is one shot from the enemy doing. If it's doing like 20 damage, you're goddamn right I'm using that health pack right away. But if they're doing like 1 damage per shot, then I'm just going to sit there and wait until I'm down to about 10 and then top up if I have to. So it depends on the game, depends on the situation.
Like that's how I prefer to heal, but I did find in this game it bit me in the ass a few times because when you get into some of these firefights, the action is so fast and furious that I was like, I don't even have time. Like I didn't even have time to heal. You know, like I almost felt like I needed to have like a certain threshold of my health going into every fight because I'm like, dude, if these guys get the jump on me, I'll be dead before I have a chance to hit the triangle button.
Oh, now if I'm done a firefight and I have a health pack and I'm down to 40, I'm going to use the health pack to get back up to 90 because I want to carry on with a little more of a safety net.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not topping me out on my health anyway, so it's in the end, I'm going to have the same amount of health. I'll just have it readily available.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, it's yeah, it was so weird because I'd go through like some phases where I'd have so much health that I'd be like, I'm just using them for fun. Like, fucking, why not? And then I'd have other times where I'd be like, you'll have to, it's elixirs from Final Fantasy. Because I've said that many times. I'm that guy. I'll finish a game with all my best items. And a game would have been, dude, you know what I'm finding? Sorry to sidebar, but you know what? I've been playing Mega Man my entire life. And just over the last like 6 months, have I finally start letting myself use my robot master weapons in levels to like make them easier?
I have played Mega Man 2 about 1,000 times, and only recently have I started using Metal Man's weapon outside of boss fights.
And it's like, yeah, or like, yeah, I'm playing Mega Man 4 right now for next week's Remember the Game, spoiler. And one of the abilities you get in that is Bright Man, where he can freeze the whole level in place for like 5 seconds or whatever the fuck. And sure, I get when you're like in F.E.A.R Man stage, that's his weakness. You want to save it for when you fight the boss. But in every other level where this weapon does no damage to the Robot Master at all, why am I not using this to make the level easier?
Yeah,
why are we like this?
Because we didn't have a lot as kids. We had to hoard stuff, and we do it in our video games now. That's my theory.
Maybe, I don't know. Then I would love to know how many elixirs I have beaten Final Fantasy games with them just sitting in my inventory. And I'm like, they would have made my life so much easier.
Those elixirs are still sitting there.
You're literally on the final boss of the game. And like 3 of my party members are dead, and the last one's in the ropes. And I'm like, but there might be another version of the boss. I might need these for that one.
No, can't use that. I might need it later in the game after the ending.
Dumb, fucking dumb. God damn it. So I need to get better at fucking, and that's why there were times where I was like hesitant to use my reflex time because I was like, oh, what if I use it and then it's empty and then I go to the next room and there's even more enemies? And I was like, it refills in no time, you stupid fuck. Fucking use it. God damn it. Oh, I suck at video games. Before, because I do want to talk about the graphics and the sound and stuff like that. There was, I can't remember his name now.
Norton Mapes.
What's that?
Norton Mapes.
Is that him? That chubby,
the big fat guy? Yeah. That would be him. I was going to bring him up eventually. I was just waiting for a moment.
I love that guy.
Oh, really? Because he is just annoying enough for me to dislike that part of the game.
Oh, I love him. If you've not played it, imagine Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park.
Oh, God.
Like fat guy with like a bright Hawaiian shirt, and he's just a piece of shit. and he fucks with you everywhere. And I love that he's close because you find the bags of chips laying around.
Yeah, then the big fat piece of shit keeps sending you out to do stuff, and it's just like, you motherfucker. And he's so cocky about it too. He's like, you're here to protect me.
Yeah. I love the second time you find him, and he's like, no, really this time I need your help. And then you go and like, I don't remember what you had to do, like reset something or some shit. And then you come back and he's in the elevator and he's like, see ya. And the elevator closes and he takes off again. And then later in the game, you can see him through a window, like trying to climb into a vent, and he's like stuck and struggling to get into the vent. Fuck. But he gets his at the end.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason I don't put him as like the worst character ever, is because he was literally designed to piss you off and then die.
Yeah, I love those types of characters, like the fat, like the like literally Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park, like one of my favorite villains ever.
Now, the only issue I had with him is he kind of really broke up the seriousness of the game.
Yeah, he does.
And
that I agree with.
I mean, I get what they're trying to do is like bring a little comedy into this horror environment, but I don't think he was really needed, but I don't think at the same time he really broke the lack of story by this point.
Yeah, I agree. I will say I kept expecting, and I'm so glad it didn't go this way. I kept expecting him to like turn out that he's like the little girl's dad or something, and he was going to mutate into like some big alien and I was going to have to fight him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I didn't want to have to do that. And this game like doesn't have boss fights.
No, it really
And I
doesn't.
love that. I hate boss fights. That was perfect. Like the closest thing to boss fights were like the tougher enemies. Like the big robots that shoot rockets at you or whatever.
The levels themselves were the bosses.
Yeah. Which I thought that was fucking fantastic. I really enjoyed the lack of, because I hate boss fights.
Yeah, it makes more sense in the context of a story. Like, real life, you don't run from boss to boss to boss. I mean, this was the ultimate goal of finding Alma. So it's not like she has a shit ton of bosses to protect her. She's crazy psychotic.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, and that's one of the things I really like about this game was, as you're playing through it and you are finding all these voice messages and you're hacking computers and the guys talking to you and stuff like that. Like I couldn't hear every word they were saying, but it's obvious that like early on, and as you play through the game, you realize that this company is clearly doing more than what they've been implying, and you're cracking the code of what they've been up to there and all that kind of stuff. And maybe it's because I've played so many Resident Evil games, but like I really, really expected this game to start throwing like failed experiments at you. Like alien creatures or something. And I actually really appreciate and respect that the developers decided not to do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good direction to go for what they were trying to present. I don't know, like I'm not a big Resident Evil fan. I think that's one of the things that ruined it for me was like after a while, it just felt that's what all they were doing is new experiment is now the new boss. Or I just finished God of War on the PS2 for the first time in my life, and one thing I noticed about that game is every time you fight a sub boss, they become a regular enemy. I hate that trope as well.
Me too. Yeah, I can't stand that. I agree with that. No, it was really ballsy of them. Like looking back on it now, I don't know how long it took me to play it. I don't know, like 10 hours, something like that, 8-10 hours.
It's not a long game.
No, but I look back on it now and I'm like, boy, you really didn't change the gameplay up that much. But you found a way to keep me coming back for a couple hours at a time to play through.
Yeah, it's just straight up fun. That's how they do it.
Yeah, that's a testament to it. And on that note, going into the graphic and sound design, like, again, it's a 20-year-old game, so it's not going to look masterful. But I got to say, dude, for a 20-year-old game that I was playing on a streaming cloud service on my PlayStation, it looked really good. I could always tell what I could interact with. I was never confused by anything. I loved the shadows. The shadows were so well done.
Yeah. This is something that's bothering me about current video games. And it's not every video game, but there's that one. You raved about it for a while. It was the one where you kept going through time and you kept dying and coming back. It was based around
Deathloop.
Deathloop. It was that game was based around not based around, but it was made by a company who made a game not too long before it, and the name is escaping me, but it was the same concept. You were basically an assassin named Corvo, and I'll never remember the name of the game right now. But in the first game this company made, the shadows mattered. Like light cast a shadow, and then it was in Deathloop. I walked in front of a big lamp and no shadow was cast. And I was like, where is that art gone? Because I've been noticing it more and more and more in games that were developed after 2000, but before 2020. And like other things, God of War 2 is a PS2 game and they have reflections in the floor. It's just the attention to detail in this game is basically my overarching point here, is just chef's kiss.
Yeah. I think the game you were thinking of was Dishonored.
Dishonored, thank you.
Yeah.
God,
I haven't played it, but I knew what you were talking about.
Yeah, but it's the same concept as Deathloop, but like graphically, and I'm only speaking graphics, not the gameplay, is
Sure.
that it sounded like, it feels like they tried really hard with Dishonored over Deathloop.
Yeah. No, I'll agree with that. Like, listen, I like good graphics. I've said on this podcast a billion times that like I'm not a graphics guy. If your game is fun, that's what matters to me. And then if it looks nice, awesome. But that doesn't matter to me. That being said, this one, like, it's not just that it looks nice, but the graphics are almost like a character. They're so, because there's actually on the note of the graphics though, one other minor gripe I have is, if this guy's supposed to be this like world-class shooting secret agent that we're sending in on our toughest missions, can we please get him a flashlight that lasts more than 6 seconds, please?
That's every horror game
I know.
trope.
Why is that? Like, I mean, I get why, because if you use your flashlight too much, it ruins the darkness and it ruins the environment and all that kind of stuff. But like, I did run into moments where I was frustrated that it was so dark and my flashlight kept dying and I had to wait and fucking wait and fucking wait.
Yeah.
But vast majority of the time, you would go from like a really dark hallway where you needed your flashlight, and then you realize that the enemies see your flashlight.
Yep.
Because they'll be like, there's a flashlight over here. Yeah. So when you're walking through a dark hallway, and then say like at the end of the dark hallway, it hooks to the right, and you can see a little bit of light coming from that right side. As you get closer, it's very critical to remember to turn your flashlight off. A, so you get your battery back. B, so they don't see it.
Yeah.
And then you can see the shadows they're casting and start using on those to figure out who's around. I was frankly kind of floored at how well the lighting was done in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's not just meant to be part of the atmosphere, it's actually part of the tactics as well. It's brilliantly done. Like, a lot of stuff about this game was revolutionary for its time, and like the more I talk about it, like I've talked about it a couple of times, and the more I think about it, this game was a little bit ahead of its time, I think.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. There's some trailblazing going on here. 100%.
Now, I know you're not a PC guy, but I think this was one of those games that benchmarked PCs of the time. So if you had a really good PC, you could play it. If you didn't, you'd play it on low graphics and not get all the fancy details.
Yeah. This is one of those ones that I know the people that have been messaging, because every time I'm playing a game for the show, I like to post it on my socials and be like, podcast prep, this is what I'm working on. And yeah, I had a lot of people reach out about playing this on their PCs and stuff like that. Like I said, I played the PS3 version. My understanding is, even to this day, playing it on PC is best option. Like, that's how it's designed to be played.
So apparently PC is the best option. The 360 was the first one with the HD option, which has since been patched into the PC. But the PS3, which has like a lot of glitches and stuff, had the best audio. It's like they couldn't make up their mind to make an ultimate edition of just one.
Yeah, and I was a little bit because it's ironically, the audio was what farted me around sometimes. I thought the graphics were great. I was just like, man, if it looks this good on cloud streaming on PS5, I can't even imagine what this would look like on like a top end PC rig.
Yeah, when you first posted that you're playing this, I asked you the question, when are you playing it on? Because when you said PS3, I really wanted your take on the PS3 version, because I've never talked to anybody who's played it before.
Yeah, no, I was
PS3.
I was very impressed. Like
That's good.
Looked great. There was the only time I was ever confused at all by the graphics was when I was in like a really dark area.
Now, I wonder if like the original version on the PS3 is different than the PS5 version, because the PS5 can handle a bit more or has more horsepower, so to speak.
Yeah, and it could be.
Maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate here.
No. But no, like I never ran into any issues with it. I thought it was, and another thing, going back to that claustrophobic point, I bet you, like, I don't know, you know a hell of a lot more about game development than I do, which is literally, no offense, but saying nothing, because I don't know anything about computers. When I talk about how they make video games, I always think of that Simpsons where they go to Itchy and Scratchy Land, And the one robot, Itchy, opens up its brain, and Marge is like, "You see all the chips and stuff in there, Homer? That's why your robot didn't work." Like, that's how I think of me when it comes to making a video game. But I imagine at least part of the reason they went with that claustrophobic hallways, dark corners, corridors design is, I presume it's much easier to make stuff like lighting and things like that work in a fixed, finite environment than it is in like a big open parking lot or whatever
Well,
the fuck.
from my understanding of level design, which is pretty much basic right now because we're only on the first module of it, but the idea of making claustrophobic points is to give you a sense of no escape. So it's meant to be not only like, save yourself some resources in your graphics cards and stuff like that, but it's also to make the player feel trapped.
Right. And that
And
makes
so,
sense.
yeah, so you're going through this hallway and you have no way out, and things start flickering and stuff happens. Well, it gives you a psychological sense of you know fear, I guess, for like closeness, or can't think of the word.
No, but that makes sense because that's a point that I was kind of building up to. Not that I hated the occasional time where you were outside, like on rooftops or whatever the fuck, because they were kind of a nice change of pace, but it just didn't feel as good.
No, it's too open. It's like the absolute opposite problem. You have too much space.
Yeah, like there's one part I remember dying 2 or 3 times. There was one part where you end up on a rooftop and there's a bunch of enemy soldiers in like a building like across an alley and they're popping up in windows and you can like snipe them, but there's also a
Oh
couple
yeah,
on the rooftops on your left and on your right. And I died there a few times and I was like, I just don't think this is as fun as like
no,
going from one corridor to another.
it never is
Uh
when everybody's across the road on a different building.
no. No. And even when you're indoors, like they do such a great job of, like, you can be in an elevator lobby and there's balconies of the floor above and some enemies are up there. Sometimes you're up there.
Yeah,
Or you'll be in a warehouse and they're like up on the racking and you're not, and stuff like that. Like they found a great way to mix levels in these, like, I mean, like different height levels in these tight areas. So when you get outside and you're just fighting guys through windows and picking guys off, I was like, this just doesn't have the same charm. Like this
no,
is,
and
now it
luckily it
feels
was.
generic.
Yeah, luckily it was far and few between for this game to have those outside areas. Like I know they had it like early on to have what's his name, Point Man, I guess is that the official name of the character,
I think so,
meet
yeah.
that Paxton Fettle, the bad guy. So
Yeah, yeah.
you run into him in a corner or something like that, and then you get knocked out. I think I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. No, for sure, yeah. Um Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, have you ever played the multiplayer? Like, I'm sorry, guys, I have nothing to add to a multiplayer chat. I haven't done it, so I have
No,
nothing to
this
say
this
there.
came around the time that I was phasing out my multiplayer lifestyle because of I hated online people.
Ah, that a pain I know all too well. No offense, listeners, I care about you, but no, I get it. I get it. It's
Yeah.
why I've been so hesitant to do a Call of Duty episode. I know a lot of people have been asking me to do some COD, but I don't do online, so you're just gonna get a campaign review, and I'm just not convinced that's what everybody wants. And I did have some people write into this episode being like the multiplayer was sick. And I will say, now that I've played a little bit of Call of Duty, I could see how this in multiplayer would be pretty intense.
I just want like having never played it, I just wonder if you're like coming around a corner and you see like a character on the other side of the map fly through space super fast with his reflex mode. Because how would
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah.
Because
I
you're
wonder
not
if they just,
slowing you're not slowing everybody down for your reflex.
yeah, I've always imagined they remove it, but I don't know. Oh no, yeah, looks like it does too. That's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, that's why I don't have any friends. I play alone. But no, I quite enjoyed it. Like my only gripe at the end of the day, my biggest gripe was that I just didn't know exactly what the fuck was going on. But I've read a synopsis. You can always fix that after the game. Like the gameplay loop was fun enough to keep me going to the end.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't know why I was going.
I really
Um,
no. My favorite part of the game is after you beat Paxton Fettle there, and you go back through, and all the soldiers are just standing still because he no longer has mind control over them.
yeah, that was creepy. I
Yeah,
came around the corner and I was like, oh shit. And then I was like, oh, they're not, hello? And then I just started shooting them to take their guns. And I was just like, I'll take those shotgun ammo. Thank you very much. That's nice.
I need to talk to somebody about this. Kaboom, kaboom.
Yeah, I love that. It almost felt good because I'm like, oh, you guys aren't trying to kill me for a change. This is fucking sick. I am I'm just warning y'all right now. Like we've already basically spoiled everything. We did mention that the episode's going to contain spoilers. So if I'm ruining something for somebody, sorry, you've been warned like 1,000 times. I'd be remiss if I did not shout out at the very end of the game. You get away, like it explodes and you're in the helicopter.
Oh yeah.
And you're all flying away and you're looking down at like the mushroom cloud and everything like that. And I had kind of like, I picked up my phone and I was half watching it, when I was like checked out. And then it fucking does that thing where that girl climbs into the helicopter for like a split second and then it cuts to credits.
Yeah,
And
that was awesome.
That got me. That I popped. I was like, what the fuck?
Great
that
way
was
to end
so
the
well
game.
done. Yeah. I had no idea that was coming because you obviously assume that she's blown up and gone.
Yeah, and I think the DLC, if I remember correctly, picks up right from that moment.
Oh, that gave me Ring flashbacks because they do it so they don't imply it's coming. You don't get to see. It's literally like half a second.
Yeah, and I think they even had like the finish the game music going on where you felt like you're triumphant there, and you're in the helicopter. Life is safe right now, and then boom, fucking Alma.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. Like Media 101 has taught us that like the villain's almost never dead. But what happens is like you fly away and then they go to like some cutscene in the smoldering rubble of this place and the hand pops up from the dirt or something, like something like that. I did not expect her to be fucking climbing into our helicopter to end it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I love that part. That's probably one of my favorite endings of a video game, bar none.
Yeah. Same here. I was watching it and admit it, like when she popped up, I genuinely let out a like, oh fuck. And then it ended, and Shaylee was like, what was that? And I was like, nothing, it's a video game. Never mind. Leave me alone.
Adam, do you have a girl down there? I heard high pitched screaming.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but I don't think you'd like her very much. That I like most memorable ending I've seen to a game in a long fucking time. Oh my God, it got me.
I love when a game just gives you exactly what you need to finish it off. Either that satisfying ending that kind of concludes everything and wraps up the story, or in this case, an ending that gives you something that you completely did not expect.
Yeah. And, if I could, like, when I finished playing this and the credits were rolling, I was like, that was cool. Like, I enjoyed it. That was fun. I'll probably end up, I'm not dying to play F.E.A.R 2, but I was like, I'll probably play it at some point. Like, I like this one enough to stick with the series. I gotta be honest, man, that fucking ending where she popped up in the helicopter and I was like, now I kind of have to fucking see what happens next. Like, it was so well done. Brilliant. Fucking chef's kiss. I loved it. Holy Christ. While we're talking about this story before we wrap this up, I'm not against the idea that the Point Man is was the first prototype and all that, but I gotta see what they do with that in the future games because I didn't feel like that was necessary.
No, but at the same time, it was a nice little twist, but one that you can almost predict just based off of the way the game started.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I was like, right, like within about 3 hours, I'm like, there's a reason that you're here. Like you're related to this somehow.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I actually thought you were going to end up being like her brother or something. Like I didn't know exactly what was good, but it was like something here is there's a reason you're here.
Yeah, it's just the way like his super high reflexes, and right after introducing the guy with psychic powers, and it's just like, they're going to be connected. Like, they telegraphed that so poorly.
Yeah, but didn't hurt the game. Like it was fine. It was fine. No, I really liked it. Yeah, I don't. I think I'm good. Is there anything we missed that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think we covered it all. I wanted to talk about Norton there, the big fat ginger that I don't like because he doesn't represent my people. That little girl we talked about, the ending. Yeah, no, I think we're good.
Yeah, it was a cool fucking game, man. If you've not played it, I recommend it. Give it a chance. If you're worried it's too scary, I'm probably a bigger pussy than you, and I didn't find it that scary.
You'll get a couple of jump scares, but nothing that will make you, want to never play the game again.
No, it was, and like, I think we said this an hour ago, but like, it was probably scarier 20 years ago than it is now.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's just so much. I know I've said it before, but like I think other than maybe racing games, I don't know if there's a genre that's benefited more from the leaps in technology than horror games.
Oh
Because as the
yeah.
graphics improve, it's so much easier to feel like I still think Resident Evil 7, the first part of Resident Evil 7 where you're in the cabin is still to this day maybe the scariest thing I've ever seen. Or no, Outlast. Outlast is the scariest thing I've ever seen. But that was there too. This was just, yeah, like you said, it was a couple of jump scares, but it really wasn't. It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's more that atmospheric scariness where you walk through a hallway and you get a flickering light and a character that disappears. It's you just go forward. Nothing
Yeah.
really. You realize that every time you get to an area like that, you can take a breather because there's no enemies.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of segments where like all those demons are coming at you from like in the fire and they do hurt you. And that seems scary at first until you realize that like one shot kills them and then it just kind of becomes like a shooting practice.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't scary at all because I was like, just one bullet puts you down. The guards are scarier than you.
And they're not moving anymore.
Yeah, they're fucking dead, kind of, or something. So, all right, what the fuck? How are we gonna score this thing?
I've been looking for like any special number in the wiki as we've been talking, and I don't see anything.
No, there's okay. So here's what we're gonna do then. F is the 6th letter of the alphabet. E is the 5th. A is the 1st. R is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. 18, I think. So let's
Out
go
of 30.
30. That works. Let's do that. Guest honor out of 30 letters.
Out of 30 letters, well, let's take 1 point off right away because assault means attack and recon means gather info. They are literally the opposites of each other. It's the way of saying shoot first and ask questions later.
I would have never got that.
Oh, I looked that up though when we reviewed it on our show because it sounded like an oxymoron, and it really, really is. So, taking away, it's a really good game. It's not one I'd rush out to play again. I'm probably going to go 21 out of 30.
All right, that's fair. That's a good score. Boy, these are the hardest ones for me because you have to put yourself back in 2000. Like I really wish, even if I hadn't finished it, I really wish I had played some of this 20 years ago because I'd be able to have more context on it. I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it, I'll go 23 out of 30. It's fun. It's good. Everything it does has been done better since. And that's such a difficult thing to put aside.
Yeah.
When you're playing a game. But no, I put 10 or 12 hours in. I enjoyed it. And as I just said, I went from like, I'll probably play another one of these someday to that half a second ending. And I was like, God damn it. And now,
now you want more.
Yeah. Like I'm not promising it everybody, but I'm going to attempt to get F.E.A.R 2 in this October. Because I got to see what the fuck now. Before we get into the plugs and wrap this up, you said that at some point you've played parts of 2 and 3?
Well, I have it on Steam because back when Steam sales, you could buy packs of everything. I got all the F.E.A.R games. So I know I've started to, but I don't think I got very far into it.
Okay, I was going to ask if you have any lasting impressions, but if you don't, it's not a big deal.
I remember it being just basically an upgraded version of F.E.A.R. I think they added a little more to it, just graphics and, story-wise, but yeah, nothing's really jumping out at me.
All right. I mean, that's not a bad, if you ask me right now, like, hey, Adam, when you play F.E.A.R 2, what do you want? I just want a better F.E.A.R 1. So if that's all we get, that's fine by me. That's what I'm looking for. So we'll find out. We'll give it a chance at some point down the road. This was fun, buddy. Now, you had mentioned that you covered this on your podcast.
Yes.
To which I thought to myself, you have a podcast? What is your show?
Yeah, we, myself, Alan and Sam, my podcasting eternal partners, we do Retrotopia there, and we post a link in the podcast channel of your Discord every week for the new episodes. But we did this for our Halloween episode 2025, and yeah, we release weekly like you do. We try to do it on Saturdays as not, get into direct competition with you because we ain't dumb. But yeah, we do the same thing. Review old video games. The three of us talk. We end up making a lot of fart jokes. Apparently, that was one of our biggest complaints we've received so far. So if you like fart jokes and three men talking about video games, check us out wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you don't like fart jokes, the fuck's wrong with you?
Yes, really, right?
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, check them out. There'll be a link in the description of this podcast and all over the Discord and all over the community. Friends of the show. Buddy, appreciate you coming on as always. And
Anytime.
Assuming the stars stay where they are in the sky for the next 28 days, 29 days, you'll be back to talk some Secret of Evermore.
Hell yeah.
It should be a gooder. So a little bit less scary than this one, but
We'll see.
What's that?
We'll see.
We will see. Yeah. Good shit, man. Thanks for doing this, buddy.
Yeah, take care.
And that'll do it for this week's episode. Cap, thank you so much for giving me a shout and talking some F.E.A.R. And every one of you nerds listening to this, whether it was your first RTG or your 369th, nice. Thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it. I know there's a ton of retro gaming podcasts out there, and you chose us. Good for you. Thank you so much. I'm grateful. I mean, I can't speak for my guests. Maybe they don't give a shit, but I am grateful beyond words. So thank you all so much for the support. If you want to support us even more, check out our Patreon. I'm not just asking for money for free. I will give you hundreds upon hundreds of bonus podcasts for just $3. Or you can go to $5, $10, and get even more podcasts and live streams and all that other stuff. You can find it all at patreon.com/rememberthegame. But you get your foot in the door for $3, and that'll get you about 500 podcasts the second you sign up, with new ones practically every week. Plus, Remember the Game ad-free with timestamps. All 369 episodes, so you can skip around, avoid the intros, listen to just the intros. Live your life. Do whatever the fuck you want. Patreon.com/rememberthegame over there. I'm on Twitch whenever I have time. I haven't been on there much lately, but now my ball hockey seasons are wrapped up for a couple of weeks till the spring season. So I might be on there a little bit more often. Look for Remember the Game over on Twitch. Not Remember the Game. Remember the Game over on the old Twitch box there. And then don't forget to check out Retrotopia, the Captain N's podcast. You can find that in the description of this episode as well. I mean, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Remember the Game. I don't use them a lot, but I'm there if you want to find them. We're on Facebook. You can find that. We do have a subreddit. That's kind of dope. You can find that. And I don't know. Go to rememberthegamepodcast.com. You can find it all there. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go thank some Patreons and shut this thing down. Thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate it. And we'll be back 7 days from this very moment with Remember the Game number 370. I know it's on April Fool's Day. I don't do April Fools. I'm just going to be nice. And we're going to review Mega Man 4. For the NES. My goal is to get through all the Mega Man games. Another one off the list 7 days from right now. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you for listening. Talk to you on the next one. Oh, yeah, leave us a good review if you didn't hate it. I don't know what they accomplished, but I enjoy reading them. Talk to you later. Cheers, so long. Goodbye. Remember the Game is brought to you by our Patreons. I could not puke up all this content every week without all of your support. The following people are the senior executive vice president level or higher at patreon.com/rememberthegame, and as such, I'm obligated to say all their names as quickly as I can. So let's go reverse alphabetical order based on your email addresses this week. Let's do that. A huge thank you to Remember the Game Hall of Famer, Slick Motherfucking Rick, Zach Shepard, Queer Al Yankerdick, Zane Donovan, the okayest of muffins, Mizuru, Mopey36, Carl Not Garl, Kia Pup, Darth Skywalter, Earl, Self High Five, Wolfgang Darren, Dean Donium, Works for Me, Rush's Dog Walker, Lord Longrod Von Hugendom II, Wolf Magic 21, Penguin Milk, Because 19, I Am the Very Model of a Modern Major General, Conebread, Mr. Jabroni, Travis Sanders, Quiet Place Queen, Fuzzy 99, Beers of War, Doogie, Timothy Sabrinsky, Botfucker, Thomas Smith, Tadpole, Tim Maverick, Mike Maloney, T-Bear 87, Scary Terry, Captain Black Silver, Ted Explosion, Spooky Dookie, Newman, Squint, Sour Goatface, Scotty J, Jimothy, Shoeboxers, DBXJ, Shane's World, Super Cyan, Safarioth, Timmy the Exuberant Turtle, Erotic Onion Ring, Steve Dulk, Captain Asbury Juice, Scott Brooks, Blaine the Hoagie Man, Flinny123, Storm Beagle, Sam Carpenter, Squeak Nuts, Ryan4664, Madam Nutsitch, Wyatt the Surgeon Who Isn't a Surgeon Row, Rob Lindsay, Monstrous the Boner, Northern, Brian Richmond, Titan 420, Handsome Major Angus McZongo Esquire, Big Daddy Randall, Siegfried, Horror Wars Podcast, Randy Barrage, Hits Meals, Lotus, Cannon Fodder Games, Ryan Perry, Lord Palmerston, Frosty Bear, Wilco, Donnie the Dude, Walter, Just James, Musty Beetle, Nick Creature, Eye Socket, Dis, Redline Arrow Jones, JSK Fusick, Morgan, Bitch-Ass Brian, McCracken, Beef Dingleberry, Ocarina of Tim Rocks, Just Car Pranks, Lord Salazar, Savage Boosh, Better Mousetrap Guitars, Bob Sacamano, Proud Slurm Addict, Alex McIntyre, Angry Ticks, Mikey Hag, Leroy Westrich, The $100 Kid, Ted Michaels, Lucas Shaman, Mark Sneed, Smith, Gabe, Aaron Lawson, Game Boy Gannon, Landon Turquoise, Caveman Lance, Postman, Ryan Kinchin, Marcus Mendoza, Kevin Monroe, My Left Nut, JR Bob Dobbs, Jort King Keegs, Sleeper Hit, Fill Up My Mouth with Farts, Jinxie425, Too Much Karma, No One Cares, Steaming Wooly, Stud Steel Smash, Hello Mr. Thompson, Jeff Bergeron, Zombie Exy, King Tiki Tiki, Jordan, Chucker22, Jonathan Breyer, Oroku Saki's Gardner, Johnny from Virginia, Laces Out Dan, Beaver Boy, Jeff Leopard, Jay Callahan, Lugnut, The Big Deal, Jay Nasty 15, George Swan, Thrill Ho, Jake Carter, Can't Destroy Her, John of the Adult Children Podcast, Max Legroom, Sharonic, James Juan Francesco, Bartman Forever, Isaias, Phil Lencher, Amanda Hugginkiss, Adam is not Patrick Waugh. No, but I did win a motherfucking championship in ball hockey last night, and I was like the MVP of the game. So I'm a little bit I have like 5% Patrick Waugh. Liquor Like Luigi, Holmes, Faded Sufferance, You Son of a Bitch, Why? Tell Me Why? Diablo Spartan, Jameer Williams, Maverick Marty, Fancy Store-Bought Dirt, G9 PSX, Graham Kennedy, Generic Name 238, pardon me, BOS Rager, Lil Bunny Fufu 89, Growly Wog, Frank Preeves, Big the Cat, Mad Gear, E-Man Trucker, Agent Booty Pants, Please Refrain from Tasting the Knob, Flater Flav, Eric Hopewell, Eddie Dean, Ida Yellow, Eddie D 19. Fuck, I suck at this. Ida Yellow, Brother Retro, MacGyver 88, Joe the Sandman, Muffin Man Jr., Scotty McGee, David Schroeder, Devin Collins, The Supreme Chozo Rizzo, Decoy Man, Davis Feith, Thunderleap, Starbles, Yes, 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 This Rocks, Archangel Otaku, Fallen Snokiku, Cesar, Robier, Juris Dr. Mario, Discount Psyop, Cody Donaldson, Chris Nethercutt, Spider Cat, Drugs of Madam K, Christopher Britt, Christian Gabriel, Makeshift Mellow Magic Money, Topher Love, Triple Three, Chris Hillis Scared, that could be anyone to ask. Exotic Chaotic, Chris Fleury, oh, that's Raspberry. I feel like that's a reference I should get, and I don't. I suck. Adam Blake still has reviewed Mario Galaxy. Wait for episode 400. Muncal, Cody Thompson, The Maritime Musician, Mild Oatmeal, Sailor Man 82, Bula, Roger Staubach's Pool Cleaner, Elijah Burns, High Plains Drifter, Daniel Cook, General Fury, Matt Babineau, B Money, Christopher Lee Williams, Mr. Blobbert Blobberstein, Darky Frost, Nordak, Biddy, Dissect That Dan, Haga Waffle, Legendberry, Eldest Millennial, Brandon DeZeba, Zamatos, Andrew Wright, Pee Wee Squitters, You Heard About Pluto, Toby OP, Dave Thompson, Andy Hudson, Adam Blank still has reviewed Crash Team Racing, Alex R, Infinity Rage, A-Town, Akiris Network, a dude named Adam Martinet, Just a Fish, AB Killin, Dixon Miaz, I can't possibly be mean, Dookie Bowser MD, and Tyler. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate it. Not a bad batch of shout-outs. Not great. Not bad. But it's Mega Man next week, and that's always good. Take it easy, everybody. Cheers.